Board of Governors, the headmaster, teachers, parents, students, and the larger Turi family, good morning. I am very grateful and humbled to be on Turi soil. I am really happy about that. And I'm more grateful, in fact, to have been invited to be part of you today to celebrate the award winners and to just celebrate this speech day with you today. To be honest with you, my presence on this stage would have been most unlikely. And you may ask, why? I grew up many years ago in material lack in a village back in Bungoma County. So that means that having access to basic needs, having access to food and such things was always a challenge. There are days when my family and I would actually have no food. There are days when we would have no access to healthcare because there was no money to take people to hospital when guys were sick. And there were in fact many more days when my siblings and I were home from school because there was no money for school fees. However, that's just one side of the story. The other side of the story is that despite the material lack in my family, we had so much love and affirmation. I remember my dad always used to tell me, Caren, you can be anything you want to be in this life. It does not matter your background, your gender, your status in society, nothing. It's all here in the mind. And my mom, on the other hand, always used to tell me, Caren, we are in luck now, but you know what? God will always provide. And the interesting thing is that God always provided somehow, and especially through school. And one more thing my dad told me. I remember this particular time, I stayed home from school for so long because there was no money to go back to school. And Dad said, Caren, when you get a chance to go to school, give it your all, because education is the greatest equalizer. And education is also what will get you and get us as your family out of poverty. So give it your all. And I believe education is such a great thing in society. Like Nelson Mandela said, education is the greatest weapon to change society. So by the grace of God, I cleared my primary education. Then I went to high school. I went to Lugulugas High School in Western Kenya. In high school, something really special happened to me. I met an angel in form of a teacher. So teachers who are here, we celebrate you. This teacher was called Mrs. Kui. Mrs. Kui and her family decided to take me in and support me through school, in high school. And they did this not just for me, but for two of my other sisters who went to the same school. And it's not because they had so much. And from them, I learned one thing, that giving is not about the abundance of your pocket or the size of your pocket. It's about the size and the abundance of your heart. I successfully completed high school and was admitted to join University of Nairobi. But there was one problem. My family did not have money to take me to school. But I was really passionate about going to the university to study, but also make a difference in terms of being a leader. Because by then, I had already started asking questions. Why is it that there's so much inequality in society? The rich are really rich and wealthy, especially the politicians, and the poor are really barely making it. And I started asking questions. Why? And for me, the answer was leadership. That everything, like John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. If you have good leaders, people will live in dignity. And due to the fact that my family was not able to afford my university education fees, I had to apply for government assistance to go through university. So I applied for the Higher Education Loans Board to be able to go through university. And in the application form, there's a section where we were supposed to attach our parents' payslip. And I asked so by then only my dad was working. And I said, Dad, I will need your payslip to attach for me to apply for the loan. And he said, yeah, I'll give it to you. Have you ever met someone who is so keen on small details, so keen on time? that's my dad. But then for some reason, I was wondering why he was taking too long to give me the payslip for me to attach to then apply for the government loan. And I kept reminding him, Dad, I'm waiting for the payslip. And he said, yeah, I'll remember to give it to you tomorrow. And yeah, one of those days, about 2 or 3 days before the deadline, he called me to the living room. And he told me, I have the payslip here. You can now attach it and submit your application. And I took the white sheet of paper, I opened it, looked at it, and by then he was looking the other side. What I saw on that paper it really shocked me. You know, Dad used to work really hard. Every single day, he was a court clerk. Every single day of the week, he'd be working so hard, going to work. On Saturday and Sunday, he'd be doing the same thing, reading, going through the papers. And I asked him, Dad, you mean after all that work, this is all you earn? That was 6,000 Kenya shillings. And I said, Dad, after all that work, is this all you make? And he said, you're aware that we've not had money to take you guys to school. So I have had to take loan after loan after loan to educate you and your siblings. So after all the deductions, this is what I'm left with. And then he said, and that's why I always walk to work. I never have lunch. I have 1 meal a day. Because I value education, I cherish education, and I believe education will take us as a family very far. And of course, I went away, but before I left, I told him, Dad, do not worry. The only fees you're going to pay for me will be the first semester, first year fees. The rest of the time, I will work hard, get some money, take myself through school, but also support you in taking care of my siblings. Of course, I didn't know the gravity of that promise till later on in life. But that is a story for another day. So, of course, time came when I joined the University of Nairobi, left my village for the first time to go to the big city with big, amazing dreams, very audacious dreams, and year 13s. I promise you, you're just about to experience a life-changing moment as you go to university. My time at the University of Nairobi, my undergraduate years, I'd say were the most foundational years of my life. I got elected, for instance, for 3 terms consecutively. I did a lot of research, for instance, to just get by, get paid, and then support myself through school and support my family and my siblings. And that was the moment when I discovered who I was. I had challenges here and there, but then those challenges shaped who I am today. And I'm very sure this season of you going to college is going to be the season when a lot of things are going to change for you, and for the better, because you have been in an awesome institution that has molded you all rounded. That will be the best moment for you. And I'm lucky that for me, I actually discovered my purpose early in life. And it is therefore my personal mission to help and nurture young African leaders to find their voices, speak out, stand out, and be the best they can be in life. So in the course of my personal journey, and especially my journey of doing youth empowerment work in Kenya and in Africa as a whole, I encountered a moment that changed my life. And this was in 2009. I was serving on a couple of government boards here and there, but then one of those council that I served on was the African Peer Review Mechanism Council. I was a national governing council member representing young people. So APRM is basically a platform of the African Union where African states get to peer review each other to make sure that they are leading and abiding by the tenets of good and democratic governance. So in 2009, Kenya and a few other countries were being reviewed. And I got the chance to attend the summit. So I sat in the African Union Heads of States Summit for the APR Heads of States. 2 things struck me as being really odd. One of those things, there was only one woman in the room. And that was former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. only one woman in the room. And of course, the continent is full of women. The other thing that really struck me as being odd was that there was no young or youthful person in the room. All of them were really old and tired men. Not that I have anything against old and tired men. I respect them and we value and cherish them. But then I asked myself the question, what would happen to Africa and to Kenya if only we had more women and more young people with a transformative agenda at the helm of the leadership of their nations? Just imagine what would happen. Africa would be different. Africa would have a different story. Africa would have a different narrative, and definitely Kenya, where we are, would have a different story. At that point, I then purposed to come back home and start a platform that would engage and empower young people in positions of leadership in whatever area of interest it is that they have, whether government, politics, media, academia, civil society, community work, any area of their passion. We would then have this platform to empower them and build their capacity to go change their communities and excel, because again, we believe leadership is all about service and leadership is all about results. And like I said earlier, everything rises and falls on leadership. And so the earlier we begin to mentor and mold young people, the better for us as a generation and actually as a world. So in 2012, like you were told earlier, I then started Emerging Leaders Foundation to equip these young people. And so far we've been able to reach over 7,000 young people, not just in Kenya, most of them in Kenya, but then in the larger Eastern Africa region. And I'd like to describe this journey, the last about 7 years or so, using the words of Winston Churchill, who talked about the journey having been about full of tears, toil, sweat, and blood. But I wish to add one thing to this description. It has been worthwhile. It has been every effort. It has been worth every effort, every time, every sleepless night I have had. I've had a few moments of failure, discouragements. Like I remember at one point some people were telling me, Caren, only kids from rich homes can start organizations because time comes when you fail and you need your parents to come in and chip in and support you. But for you, your family actually needs money from you. So stop this idea of dreaming and whatever. And I said, you know what? Let me give it a try. I feel the fire in my belly for young people, and this is what I want to do. And I look back and I'm like, you know what? I would never trade anything for this past journey. I am a different person. I'm a better individual. And I thank God for that. I have learned so many lessons in this journey, I think over 20, over 30. But for this purpose, I'd just like to share 3 key lessons that I'd love to, for you to just carry this with you. And the first one is let go of fear. I had the privilege to interview year 13s, and I remember asking a number of them the question, do you have any fears? And they'd say yes. And I'd say, what? And they'd say, fear of failure. Somebody talked about fear of death, fear of darkness. And what is your fear? Whether you're a parent, a teacher, a student. I came across some readings some time back that said fear has two meanings, the acronym FEAR. The first one is forget everything and run. And the other one is face everything and rise. The choice is actually yours to make. We're all afraid sometimes, but when we act, it doesn't mean that we're not afraid. Courage just means that we have discovered that there's something much more important than fear itself, and so we then choose to take that step. I personally used to be so afraid of failure. Till the last 7 years, we have failed so many times, over and over as an organization. I remember some time back, we lost our furniture that I had saved for over a year and a half to be able to raise the required capital to buy the furniture, and we just lost it in very unfair circumstances. At some other time, there's a gentleman who, for instance, wrote an email to me and said, I love the work you guys are doing. I do not have money to give, but I would love to donate equipment, so computer, video camera, and all those things. And also gave us an intern who he used to pay for. But after about 6 or so months, he wanted to have an affair. So that was actually the reason for donating the stuff. But then when that wasn't forthcoming, one time he wrote to me and said, Caren, everything I have ever given to ELF, I want it back. Yes. So of course we had to go look for nice boxes and put in everything from the computers, the books. And then went to hand over to him, and one book was missing. So I told him, let me give you money, you buy the book, I don't know where the book is. And he said, no, I do not want money, I want my book. So I started moving from one bookshop to the other. The book was called How to Be Led by the Power of the Holy Spirit. And luckily enough, I actually found the book at Scripture Union, and I was so happy. I looked for him, gave him the book, and at that point I said, you know what, I don't think we want to receive any more gifts from anyone. Let's just work hard, let's toil, let's fall and rise up again till we make it, but let's not do any more gifts. So I used to be so afraid of failure, and like I told you, I have failed so many times, still I've discovered failure is a part of life, and failure is not a bad thing. Embrace failure. Whenever I speak to young people, I tell them, embrace to fail as many times as you can. Because when you live on the safe edge, the comfort, you dare not attempt anything, and you can't be anything in life. Somebody said that the ship in the harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are meant for. The moment you live on the edge of your comfort, you then begin to experience growth. And that has been testimony to what many of year 13s have shared. So please, embrace failure. Let go of your fear. Fear is just in the mind, it's something imaginary. The moment you confront that giant, it then disappears. And I wish to just share a quote by Marianne Williamson, the author of A Return to Love, who talks about fear. And she says that our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, fabulous, and talented? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God, and there's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're meant to make manifest the glory of God. We're meant to make manifest the glory of God that is in all of us. It's not just in some of us, it's in each and every person. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. So lesson 1, let go of fear. Lesson number 2, discover your purpose in life and pursue it relentlessly. No one is ever too young or too old to live the life of their dreams. Again, I've been privileged to interact with the year 13s, and some of you really, wow, you're amazing. At this young age, you've already discovered your purpose. Some of you want to be in film industry. Some of you want to write books. Some of you want to make a change in your countries when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to women empowerment, and so many other things. What is your purpose? What is that one thing that makes you lose sleep at night? What is that one thing you can die for? What is that one thing? Somebody said that, and this is actually a fear by many of us, that we fear death. We wonder, how will I die, and all those things. But I believe, having walked this journey, that the greatest tragedy in life is not death. It is living life without purpose. And I think as parents, as guardians, and as teachers, we need to empower our children to do what they love and to love what they do. I think words would fail me to explain how much I love what I do. I really love it. I'm so passionate about it. I can do it for free for the rest of my life and be happy. I did it for free for the first 6 years of the journey of ELF because no funding was coming through. And I used to do consultancies elsewhere to then finance the mentorship of young people, and we've come so far. So this is my purpose and this is my passion. And I wish to share a little story about one of my younger sisters. She's called Vivian. I have supported my siblings through university education, and I used to think that I was quite liberal because I allowed them to pursue and I encouraged them to pursue what they wanted to pursue in their lives, what they were passionate about. But then one day, a friend of mine came visiting, and she was having a chat with my younger sister, Vivian. And she said, "So Vivian, what are you pursuing at the university?" And she said, "Right now, I am pursuing a degree in public relations for Caren. Then when I'm done, I will then enroll to pursue catering and hospitality because that is my passion." I said, "Vivian, what did you just say?" And she said, "Yeah, that's what you forced me to do." I said, "No, but Vivian, I asked you what you wanted to do and I encouraged you to pursue your passion." And she said, "No, Caren, you talked me so strongly into pursuing public relations, but I'm not passionate about that." Oh, I felt so terrible. I said, "Vivian, I am so sorry. I apologize." And I told her to then go to the university and apply to change from one faculty to the faculty she wanted. And I need you to know something about Vivian. She has been one girl who has been so shy, timid, and she would just say yes to everything you say without even thinking through, reasoning and arguing with you, a bit afraid. But she then got the transfer to go to Turi College to study catering and hospitality. And let me tell you something, and especially to parents, Vivian completely transformed. As I mentor young people elsewhere, I was a bit careful to say, let me also mentor my younger siblings and pass on what I pass on to other young people. But it was a bit difficult to get Vivian to be more confident, to have a healthy self-esteem. But the moment she got enrolled at Turi College, things changed. She was elected her class president. She speaks up. She reasons with people. She negotiates. Over the weekends, she actually gets contracted by families to cook for them and gets paid. So she's already making money while at second year level of education and saving part of that money. And she no longer asks me for money for salon and pocket money and all that because she has her own money. She's been empowered. She's doing what she loves to do. Parents, let's listen to our children. We can guide them because we have lived longer, we have seen the world, we've seen the world change and so many things, but our children know better. They know what makes them tick. Please listen to your children. You'd want to have a filmmaker who is changing the world and making a difference, a doctor who's doing that, an author, a writer who's telling our stories in a very amazing way. Encourage your child to pursue whatever it is that they want to pursue. Final lesson, be audacious in your dreams. Be audacious, absolutely audacious in your dreams. I have discovered that dreams are things. We can touch them, we can feel them. Like Michelangelo said, the greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark. And I echo the words of Mark Batterson, the author of Chase the Lion, who said that if your dreams don't scare you, then they're too small. Your dreams need to be so big that you actually need God to achieve them. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a living proof that there's power in the dreams we dream. There's absolute power in the dreams we dream. And that all things are possible for as long as we just put our mind, our soul, our hearts into them. All things, absolutely all things are possible. When I was growing up, I used to just imagine stuff and daydream. And you know what? Most of those things have come to pass, and I'm like, wow. So there's so much power in the thoughts we think, in the dreams we allow ourselves to think. So don't limit how much and to what extent you can dream and what you can become and what you can achieve in life. And like Nelson Mandela said, things always seem impossible until they're done. What is that seemingly impossible dream that you have? At Emerging Leaders Foundation, for instance, we too have an audacious dream. We dream of setting up a center of excellence for youth leadership in Africa, a center that would be fully fledged with a library, with recreational facilities, with offices, conference facilities, and other state-of-the-art facilities where young people from all walks of life would just come, learn, interact, be coached, be mentored, and be the best that they can be in life. And we're thinking of buying land, putting up the drawings and all that stuff. It might appear like a seemingly impossible dream, but you know what? It can be done. It can be done. What is that dream that you have? I'd just like for you to take a minute and think about that. What is that dream that you have? And like I said, we're never too young, too old to dream. Absolutely never. And dreams have power. Dreams shape who we are. What is your dream? That seemingly impossible dream. And I'd like to share with you a little song called The Impossible Dream. To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to reach the unreachable star. To the Turi community, I challenge you. Dare to reach that unreachable star. And even when you fail, pick yourself up and keep going, because it does not matter how many times you fall down or you fail. What matters is that you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you keep going. Try and dream and try and reach that unreachable dream. Because all things are possible. All things are possible. And there's nothing actually like an unreachable dream. Reach that dream. Dare to push yourself even when your hands are weary, when you're in sorrow. Try and grasp at that star. See it in your dream. See it in your vision. Because it is possible. And just remember, never despair. Never give up. Keep going. The sun will definitely shine again. Thank you so much, and God bless you.